How's it going, and welcome to Villains Voiced, a series where I go over your favorite villains that you love to hate. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at the pirates in Tomb of Annihilation, but I don't want to give away anything major because, of course, there's gonna be spoilers. So, players that plan on playing in this excellent module, do not watch this, but DMs that want added insight and how we can roleplay these swashbuckling noir duels, let's go ahead and stick around because we have a lot to cover. So here they are, the three pirate captains of the Jahaka Pirates. Captain Elok Jaharwon, Captain Laskilar, and Captain Zaroum Al-Saryak. Between these three individuals, you've got a lot of dynamics about pirates. You have someone that's just a cold-blooded murderer that's willing to do whatever it takes to get gold. You have someone that is a roguish individual that is flamboyant and boisterous. And you have someone who's all about the money. So between these three individuals, you can have a ton of fun with them. You can insert them however you want. However, more than likely, you're going to insert them by having them be somewhat of antagonist or just flat out villains for the party to go up against. And that's more than likely going to be your players accept the quest to go ahead and hunt them for some good old gold. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the three pirate captains individually, and then we can go ahead and wrap it up as a whole. Starting things off here with Captain Elok. If your players go ahead and face him out on the very seas or they storm the pirate base, he will go ahead and announce himself saying, "I am Captain Elok Jaharwon, and I have no time for games. Surrender or die." If your players feel a little bit outmatched or they want to go ahead and see what is going on here, they can go ahead and comply, at which case he will go ahead and announce, "Tie them up, take their goods. They will join the others in the cage." But if your players are in it for the win and they go ahead and fight, combat will ensue. Then he will go ahead and command out, "Kill them all. We're taking all of their plunder for ourselves." However, there's something very important to note about combat with this individual. While the rest of his crew will go ahead and fall like mortal men, he is special. If your players stab into him with mundane weapons, they will draw no blood. And why is that? Because in reality, he is a werebore. But he'll never show his hybrid self. He doesn't want to expose that. He wants to be an imposing figure that makes himself look way stronger than everyone else, which in reality he is. So he'll go ahead and exploit that. So if one of your players does get a good hit in, but sees no damage is done, he will go ahead and laugh it off, saying, "Not good enough. Very few can make me bleed." So hopefully, armed with his knowledge that blades can't hurt him, your players are going to have to get a little creative here, either using silvered weapons, magical weapons, or just flat out magic in order to stop this guy. But throughout the entirety of combat, he will expout such things as, "The sharks will be eating good tonight. Your bounty will put us ahead of schedule. You're strong. Perhaps you wish to join my crew. You won't stop me from becoming the king of the pirates." Now, it is very possible that your players could be high enough level to go ahead and beat him and his crew as you guys are fighting out on the seas or out there at base. And if he loses the majority of his crew, and most important of all, your players have the means to hurt him, he will recognize this threat and he will go ahead and announce, "Do not kill me. I can lead you to the biggest hoard of gold you have ever seen." He will try and negotiate with the party. He's not dumb. He wants to live. And whether that be just to try and lull them into a false sense of security, or if he is being genuine, that's entirely up to you. But he is smart. He's gotten this far in the ranks because he's powerful and he knows what he's doing. And he's also a very charismatic individual. He's winning over the majority of the people in this pirate syndicate, and that might be because he is just powerful. But I'd like to imagine that he has a way of word about him, that there is a reason why so many people are wanting to follow this guy's dream of becoming the king of the pirates. Now, of course, your players could recognize this guy for the villain that he is. They could want the bounty on his head. They could not trust him. Or maybe they just flat out, kill him in combat. And his dying words will be, "The other captains will be glad to see me gone." And moving on to the second captain here, we have Captain Laskilar. While Captain Elok Jaharwon is more brutish in his tactics, Captain Laskilar is striving for something else. he's growing weary of the fact that they are going out and just capturing poor little traders and taking their gold, and he's tired of going up against people that can't fight back. He wants something fresh. He wants something new. And he wants to go ahead and eventually have an epic adventure of his own. He wants to traipse around the jungles of Chult and getting treasure. But the thing is that he's no dummy as well. He knows that going into dangerous locations is a terrible way to get yourself killed. So the best way to earn treasure out in the jungles of Chult is by going ahead and following some adventurers and stealing their hard-earned gold. Because, you know, why work hard when you can work smart? So when your players meet the captain for the very first time, whether that be out in the seas, the jungles, or in fact in the Pirate Bay, he will go ahead and announce himself, expouting, "You stand before Laskilar, captain of the Sturge, and now, owner of all you possess." Now, Laskilar is a pretty good fighter, but, you know, why fight when you don't have to? He is always going to go ahead and extend the courtesy of offering surrender. And he will look to the party and expout, "You can leave to get more loot another day, no? Simply hand over your goods, and perhaps we can reminisce about this over in a few years' time." Now, of course, some groups might be willing to accept the offer of surrender. However, I know for a fact a lot of groups are going to go ahead and straight to combat. In which case, Captain Laskilar is simply going to retort, "Such a shame. I hate to have to clean my cloak. But blood must spill this day, I suppose." And Captain Laskilar will go ahead and fight. He's pretty good himself, but he's also got a very strong crew, specifically his first mate. He's going to rely on his crewmates to help him out in the ensuing fight. And during that fight, he's going to be maneuvering around, swashbuckling to and fro, and he's going to be spouting such things as, "My crew is the most diabolical bout of rakish rogues and bloodthirsty cutthroats. Oh, how I adore them. It's not too late. I will charge for damages, but you can still go free. I don't appreciate killing. I want an antagonist to butt heads with in the future." And so during the course of the battle, he will go ahead and fight, but if he takes enough damage, he will simply look to the players and say, "It is a good thing I know how to swim." In which case, he will go ahead and flutter his cape and disappear in a cloud of smoke. Why is that? That is because he has a cape of the Montebank. The cape of the Montebank allows you to teleport 500 feet away in any direction should you desire. So if he's out there on the high seas and he knows for a fact that the ship is lost, he will go ahead and just teleport as close to land as possible and start swimming. But if that is not an option, if he's too far out there in the waters, or if he is located somewhere else, he's just going to simply teleport to try and find a hiding spot. Now, if your players are able to chase down this roguish vagabond and he cannot teleport again, he will go ahead and surrender, and he will go ahead and say, Hey, no major harm, no major foul, no? I have plenty to offer in return for my safety." And that is true. He's got some good gold, but more importantly, he's got some good information. He can go ahead and tell the party if they agree to let him live, and that could be a certainly large bargaining tool. But if your players strike down this swashbuckling individual, in his dying breaths, he will announce, "Is this how it ended? I wanted so much more." And lastly, for the captains here, we have Captain Zaroum Al-Saryak. This guy physically stands out above the rest. And why is that? That is because he is wielding a sword which is worth more than most people will ever make in their entire lifetimes. A sword worth 1,250 GP. And he's wearing a coat which glitters with gems that itself costs 750 GP. So just capturing this guy's clothing and armor automatically nets you 2,000 gold. Oh my goodness. But also something very cool to note is the fact that this guy is missing an eye. And in its place, he has a magical gem which allows him to see treasure trails. Pretty cool. But this magical item was never given any stats because it is not meant to be used by anyone else other than him. So if your players are fortunate enough to see this mass amount of wealth, they will obviously be accompanied by the captain himself. And when the captain sees the players, he will go ahead and announce himself, "I spy with my magical eye some treasure.
Give me your gems and give me your gold. The world will know that Captain Zaroum Al-Saryak only lives in luxury.
Now, Zaroum here knows money when he sees it. He's going to look at the players and hopefully he can determine if they've got some gold on them or not. And he will obviously go ahead and accept any surrender by saying,
"Those that irritate me have their heads mounted alongside the mermaid of my ship. Do you care to join them?"
And while Grizzly, yes, that is true, the captain has a fun habit of decapitating people that he does not agree with and puts their heads on the figurehead of his ship. Pretty gross. Now, most players are going to see this gem-encrusted sword and this gem-encrusted jacket, and they are going to want it. And the combat is inevitably going to ensue, in which case he will go ahead and cry out,
"Take their heads and take their jewels."
And that certainly can have a double meaning. Your players go ahead and get into an epic swashbuckling combat with this guy and his mighty crew. As your players engage Captain Zaroum Al-Saryak and his crew, he will go ahead and shout things such as,
"This sword is worth more than your life 10 times over. Don't you dare hit this coat. This rivals any clothes worn by emperors. Did you bring anything for me, or are you but poor fools?"
Now, you don't make it this far in the pirating world by being stupid. If he sees a losing fight, he's going to recognize a losing fight. In which case, he will go ahead and offer up his arms, saying,
"Don't hurt me anymore, and don't damage my goods. I yield."
Now, of course, your players are going to want all of that gold that he's got littering around his ship, littering around his own person, and maybe they even want his own eye. But he has something that could be worth even more than that. In his possession, he has a sending stone. And where is the other half of that sending stone? Why, it's right there in Commander Liara Porter's office. Yes, the pirates are in league with the Flaming Fist, and that information could be worth more than its weight in gold. Now, having dealt with Captain Zaroum, your players may go ahead and strike this evil man down, and in his dying breath, he will say,
"I see it now. The pathway to the real treasure."
And with that, he falls. And there we go, some lines to get us involved with these 3 lovable pirates. But here's the thing. While yes, it's as written, you're more than likely going to only interact with them in Jahaka Bay, around Jahaka Anchorage, or maybe out in the 7 Seas. But what if they were interacting with the party so much more? What if they gave up their pirating of the seas life and started going ahead and pirating out in the jungles? As previously mentioned, Captain Laskilar, he wants that. He wants to go ahead and steal treasure from characters that are working hard because he doesn't want to have to go through ancient tombs. He'd rather just sit at the entrance and wait for someone to come out. And of course, another thing to consider is this is a pirate syndicate and they are all working together. But what if something breaks this conglomerate apart? What if one of the pirate ships goes down and there's only 2 more left? Are the 2 surviving captains going to look around and say, hey, you know, obviously we lost one of our ships. Are we going to want to fight whoever just took out one of them? They probably wouldn't. They probably would want to go ahead and, you know, turn tail and not have to deal with it. So if your players knock out one of the ships, maybe the other 2 pirates go ahead and start making their way all the way through the jungles of Chult all the way back to Port Nyanzaru. That could be fun. Another big old thing you have to consider is the relationship between the pirates and the Flaming Fist. Commander Liara Porter is using the pirates to go ahead and get some gold out of them because she doesn't care. The ships coming out of Baldur's Gate are going perfectly fine. They're not getting attacked, but all the other ships are getting attacked. So that's kind of a big deal. If your players find out this information that Liara Porter is on the bad side, then that could have some huge implications. Maybe Liara Porter goes ahead and tries to bribe the party, or maybe Liara Porter sends out a kill call on the party and they can't go anywhere. You know, there's a lot of fun implications you can have with that. Maybe you want the pirates to actually be a force of good, you know, albeit for a cost. Maybe the pirates can work as mercenaries and the pirates actually make their way all the way to Omu. You know, that could be fun, having a little pirate syndicate with you while you're exploring around the jungles. And then you can have some fun pirate versus snake action. That's awesome. A little something lost in the text here is, in fact, that there is a pirate that is located in the Fane of the Night Serpent, and she was thrown off ship at one point. So, that could have some fun implications as well. Skies are the limit with these pirates. Use them. This is a high-stakes, roaring adventure, and pirates fit so well into this campaign. Tell me how you plan on using these pirates, because I would love to hear it. These pirates are absolutely phenomenal. I love running them. I love their personality. I love their character. I love how they each stand out amongst themselves and can really resonate with your players. That is going to do it for me, though. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to all my amazing patrons. You guys are absolutely incredible. I can't wait to hit up more villains voiced, because there's a lot of villains, and a lot of villains need voices. That is going to do it for me, though. Thank you so much for watching, and I cannot wait to see you all in the next one.